The moment she said she couldn't afford this date, the world seemed to pause, not because of the words themselves, but because of the weight behind them, the quiet fear of being left behind again, and the unspoken history of disappointments that sat heavy between us like an unfinished chapter begging for mercy. Before the story pulls you deeper, pause for just a second. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet power of human connection, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. Her name was Aisha, and mine was Daniel. We met in the most ordinary way possible, the kind of meeting no one writes about, standing in line at a small bookstore cafe, both of us pretending not to notice how tired the other looked. Life had clearly been unkind to her, and I recognized that look because it once lived on my own face. She had eyes that carried both warmth and caution, like someone who wanted to trust but had learned the cost of doing so too freely. We started talking about books, then about work, then about life, the kind of conversations that don't rush, that unfold gently like evening light slipping through a window. Our first few dates were simple, almost fragile in their simplicity. Long walks, shared coffee, sitting on park benches watching people pass by as if their stories somehow made ours safer. I learned that Aisha worked 2 jobs, one during the day at a tailoring shop and another at night cleaning offices. She never complained, never asked for sympathy, but I could hear the exhaustion in her pauses. I was struggling too, trying to rebuild my life after a failed business and a breakup that left me questioning my worth. Money was tight for me, but hope was tighter for her. The night of that date was supposed to be special, something different. I had saved for weeks, skipping meals, avoiding small comforts, just to take her somewhere nicer than usual. When she realized where we were going, her steps slowed. That was when she admitted she couldn't afford this date. Not in embarrassment, but in honesty. It wasn't about the money alone, it was about dignity, about not wanting to feel like a burden or a charity case. She had spent her whole life proving she could survive on her own, and the thought of owing someone emotionally terrified her. What she didn't know was that I wasn't trying to impress her with a place or a bill. I was trying to tell her, without words, that she mattered, that she was worth effort, planning, and sacrifice. In that moment, I realized something deeper than attraction was growing between us. I wasn't thinking about one evening, I was thinking about mornings, about ordinary Tuesdays, about the quiet persistence of choosing someone again and again. I wanted to keep dating her after this too, not because I could afford it, but because I couldn't afford to lose what was slowly becoming real. Life didn't suddenly become easier after that. We faced misunderstandings, exhaustion, and moments when fear tried to convince us that love was a luxury neither of us could maintain. There were nights when she cried silently, worried that her financial struggles would eventually push me away. There were days when I felt inadequate, wondering if I could ever give her the security she deserved. But instead of running, we stayed. Instead of pretending, we talked. Instead of demanding perfection, we offered patience. Slowly, things began to change. Not in dramatic, movie-like ways, but in quiet victories. I found steadier work. She started getting more tailoring orders through word of mouth. We celebrated small wins with shared meals cooked at home, laughter echoing in a tiny kitchen, and dreams spoken softly as if afraid to wake the world. Love, I learned, doesn't erase hardship, it gives it meaning. There came a day when Aisha surprised me. She had saved enough to take me out, nothing extravagant, just a modest dinner she planned herself. The pride in her eyes was brighter than any expensive restaurant. It wasn't about who paid or where we went, it was about walking forward together without shame or fear. That was when I understood that real wealth isn't money, but the courage to let someone see you at your most vulnerable and still choose to stay. If this story is touching something inside you right now, if it reminds you of a love you're holding onto or one you're still hoping for, please take a moment near the end of this video to like, comment, and share. Your engagement tells us these stories matter, and it helps others feel less alone. Before the ending, I want to ask you something from the heart. Please comment below and tell us whether you believe love is about money, or about commitment when life is difficult. Your words might give someone else the strength to keep going. Today, when I look at Aisha, I don't see a woman who once said she couldn't afford a date. I see someone who taught me that love is an investment of time, patience, and faith. We didn't choose each other because it was easy, we chose each other because walking away would have been harder. And in a world that often measures worth by what you can spend, we found something priceless, each other, and the promise to keep choosing love, even when life asks us to count every coin.